I'm delighted to be here, and being the visiting faculty here a year and a half ago is definitely a pleasure. So, in a way I would say welcome to the Institute once again from my side to you guys. And let me briefly introduce myself, is that I am a doctor for close to 40 years, and I had been a cancer surgeon before I moved into public health. So professionally now I work for control of tobacco in the country and in Rajasthan. I have been here as a visiting faculty in year 2011, and that time I taught HSS elective on human values and professional ethics. I'm told that next week there would be a workshop which I'll conduct on next weekend. So I'm not going to talk much about the human values right now. I was told that I should be giving you an orientation lecture. Now that was a bit tough call, because I know you guys are already pretty mature and very much decisive as well as to what you want to do in life and what you have already done so that you are here. And so I thought, let me take you a little further with what I consider could be helpful tips to stay more productive and be happy. Does that sound all right? Okay, great. I want the interactive audience, and at the end of the lecture I would definitely love if there are questions which you could ask me, and I'll be very happy to answer those, whatever I can. There could be tough questions and I may not be able to answer, so please, but do test my capabilities if I can help you with it. Let me also acknowledge my gratitude to the Institute, the present director, and Professor Gorthi, Mr. Akhlaq Hussain, Dr. Akhlaq, who have been coordinating for close to a month now to bring me here because of my other assignments with the hospital that I work in for tobacco control programs, and the NGO that I am part of to work with the state government and the national government. So, but nonetheless, this definitely was a great opportunity to be back at LNMIIT. These are some of my students from the previous batches when they had gone to Fatehpur Sikri. So one of the students was kind enough to send me this photograph, and yes, all of them have been very lovely and it's been a nice experience. The intro submission that I want to give is that it's a snapshot of proposals which is based on my understanding, and I fully realize that knowledge is a limitation. So yes, knowledge has its opportunities, but also it puts you with the barriers and challenges that you may not know everything. And let me quote Mahatma Gandhi here, is that nobody is perfect, and because if you become perfect, you become God. So you're always in a learner's mode, and that's the better way to learn and be humble and learn that with humility, that yes, you need to know a lot. So this experience is with my life as a professional and maybe as a human being more in the last decade, where I thought that yes, beyond professionalism also there is a life. So I'll talk about that more. But to the agenda that I have, I would like to focus on health a little bit so that you stay healthy. Not very boring things that I will talk, I'll just give you very briefly the tips that you require. Then I'll talk about the concept of happiness, and can we all be happier than what we are, and that's how I learned to be happier maybe. And then we'll talk something about the aspirations, your aspirations to be at LNMIIT, and also the aspirations of the institute, which a good number of you may have realized already, but I thought I should reiterate that. And then I'll talk about the life overall, and lastly to reinforce the topic that I am giving a title, that from being to becoming. And then I'll definitely have your inputs. So to begin with, if this is the question as to what matters the most to a living being to stay functional. The answer obviously is the health. We all know of the health as it comprises primarily what is visible to us, and we look forward to stay healthy. It's the physical component that good number of us do care for. How many of you exercise every day? Can you raise your hands? Okay. That's the national status, which is very low. Very disappointing as well, because the youth of the India have to be a little more energetic, healthier. This is surely are the tips only to let you know as to how you can stay healthy lifelong, be free of non-communicable diseases in particular, which is responsible for 60% of our total deaths. It happens mostly in the people who are sedentary and who use tobacco, cannot control on the intake of alcohol, cannot maintain the body weight. Need to pardon me because I am plus 60, so I can perhaps be a little overweight, but I am still in the normal parameters. And restrict the intake of salt, fried, fatty and sugary foods, and have a regular annual checkup to rule out major fatal illnesses even before these have taken a kind of intermediate risk factor. The topmost is most important, I would say. Tobacco is a big health hazard for most of those who have experimented with it. Don't go beyond that stage. Those who are friends of tobacco users, that is, they don't use tobacco, keep reminding them it has some 4,000 chemicals. 500 of these are fatal toxins, which none of us would like to even inhale or intake in any form or get into contact with, which includes something like hydrogen cyanide gas, carbon monoxide gas, methane gas, lead, chromium, nickel, aluminium, and also the radiation hazards as well. These are few of those toxins that I am narrating, and 70 of these cause cancers directly. 50% of cancers in India in males are tobacco related, so also the 20% cancers of females. So one thing that you need to take away as a message from this orientation, and that perhaps would suffice if you don't take anything else, if you are a tobacco user, that say no to tobacco, and if you are using tobacco, quit it. I am not the one proponent for people taking kicks out of any stimulant, so alcohol I wouldn't really recommend, but scientifically yes, it has a value, provided its limited use can be maintained by the people. And that is just one bag of hard liquor, 150 ml of wine, red wine, and 300 ml of beer. That's all, not more than that. So guys, I know the campus here very well. We have tried to make it tobacco free, and I had known that tobacco and alcohol was being used frequently. So it's a tip for the seniors also to keep your race healthier and most appropriate. Staying physically active means what? You should at least do 30 minutes of physical activity on at least 5 days a week. But if you can do an hour's activity every day of the week, that is the best, because that not only helps you to maintain your body weight, but it should also help you in prevention of lot of diseases, illnesses. Also, it helps you to be productive, more productive than others. It helps you eliminate the abstinence that we commonly see, and it will also eliminate your presentism, that you may be present in a class but your mind is not focused. So naturally, physical activity has tremendous advantages to a professional, and that is what I consider would be very helpful. Only addition that I would like to make to physical activity is that do it at any time of the day or night, whenever you get time. Do it at a stretch of at least 20 minutes at a time, and also do it in such a manner that every time it gives you an effort which is equivalent to walking briskly. That's not difficult. You have a big campus, nice campus, and I'm sure you all do walk a lot, but you are just going to the classes or maybe somewhere, or up to the city, maybe at the gate, but that's not enough. Try to be a little more intense in your physical activity. Canteen definitely has a lot of unhealthy food here, I know this as well. Try and get the healthier food, get more salads, get fresh juices. That would be more helpful. So also in the food in the cafeteria, if it could be less fried, fatty and least salty. Salt is the reason why we have a huge population of hypertensives. Sugar is the reason as to why India is the capital of the world in diabetes. So these are two major illnesses which we have because of the dietary intake. And that's why I suggest that regular annual checkup is a must. Not only for yourself, maybe you are all young, you may not have any illness, but get your blood pressure checked at least every 6 months. But it's more important also that you would send this information to your parents, that they should have a regular checkup, because it's important that after 35 years of age, everybody has a checkup, by at least a physical checkup, and few simple blood investigations, a blood count, blood sugar, blood lipid, and that should suffice. That's it. So it's very simple, an hour's visit to a hospital and everything will be done. But does that suffice as a health? Maybe not, because the WHO, World Health Organization, has given a definition for health, and so it has additional components of the mental health, which is very important, because for most of us it's the emotions which bring about the change and take you from past to future. Also you need to worry about the social health. It's very important to be socially acceptable and accept the society together. Be little economically sound, and that's what you guys have worked for all throughout, right from passing maybe 8th class onwards, given your lot of effort to be qualified engineer and then perhaps having a better career. But lastly, spirituality also. And that's important. Spirituality is not that you are a ritualistic person, but recognizing that yes, we live in a world which is made up of the space that we live in. We don't recognize that space many times, but there's always space between each one of us, and that equilibrium is maintained by somebody. So that's the sense of a spirituality I would have. And this whosoever, this person or lady or whosoever, or you call him God, by Allah or any other name, I think there is somebody who maintains this existence. So that's what my thought is, that we need to be really careful about it. We need to be grateful about it as well. So how do we do that? How do we remain healthy altogether? And where do we begin with the concept of the mental health and thinking about ourselves? Because if you realize that it's the body which gets controlled mostly by ourselves. Somebody, our consciousness. Is there a generator? We are not different if you look at it, except from the external appearance or the visibility that we all have. We have certain common characteristics. We have the similarities, and the similarities are in the form of our basic aspiration. Basic aspiration is the aspiration that comes to us right from the birth. And if any one of you or some of you could guess as to what is that basic aspiration of life, I'll be very happy. What has been the aspiration so far which you think has brought you to this level? Or what could be the basic aspiration of anybody? Somebody walking on the road, somebody working in maybe Bollywood, somebody working as a player. What could that be as a basic aspiration? Yes? Knowledge. Any other guesses? Yes?
A healthy person.
A healthy person. Yes? Who else? Roti, kapda or makan, right? That is the basic aspiration. Okay. So you're all wrong in a way, but we'll come back to this. But we also have a set of program for us. We all work in a particular way. That we all have an inner voice which tells us, ye karo, wo karo, ye mat karo, ye karne se nuksan ho jayega. And you keep listening to this voice right from your childhood. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. And then we also have similar potential. Although we grow differently, we are in different places after our growth, but I think we have a potential. Each one of us has a potential. Otherwise, why would somebody living in a village would grow to become the captain of the Indian cricket team? Why would someone become the prime minister after maybe trying to living in a very low or poor rural background? But it happens. It happens because the people have their potential. And so what is invariable then? And if we look at this invariable, it is the happiness. This is the basic aspiration that each one of us have, that we all want to be happy. Is there anybody who doesn't want to be happy? Maybe I'll never get that answer because I've never heard anybody that I want to be unhappy because this is what is going to help me the most. And this happens from the childhood for everybody, right? So how do we look at this happiness as to what is this happiness? And the simpler way perhaps to understand is to know about the unhappiness. Anything which brings about a conflict, a contraindication, disharmony, dysenergy, you become unhappy. If the ACs are not working, you are unhappy. If the mic is not working, you are unhappy. If you are not relieved in time, you are unhappy. If you don't get your bank deposit in time, you are unhappy. If you don't get the right food, you are unhappy. All these situations are of contradiction, something that you did not want. Conflict, you get into conflict and then you realize that you are unhappy. So it's now easy to understand happiness, that happiness is the state of being in synergy. You are happy with your friend and you can be with the friend for long hours. It doesn't affect. Time passes so very quickly. And not now only, but even if you realize in the past when you were in the happier moments of life, be it with parents or with siblings, with friends, or you were visiting some place, recall all those moments. Those always bring the happiness. But all the situations where I said there could be unhappiness, you recall those moments and this moment itself you will become unhappy. Do you all agree? You want me to give you 2 minutes to think one situation of happiness in the past and one situation of unhappiness. Take a moment and think about it. Once you've done it, I'll go ahead with it because I think this is very important to understand what is happiness. Because that is our basic aspiration. We all strive to be happy or happier every time. Anybody would volunteer? Is a situation you could think of when you became unhappy? Your father scolded you, your friend did not look at you, did not appreciate, or you did not get the motorbike, the model that you wanted. There could be many reasons. Similarly, yes, as I told you that there are happier moments and you always cherish those. So let's look at the happiness. Do we all want to be happy? Yes, you already said that. Sometimes only or always? Always, right? You always want to be happy. So how can one be always happy? There is an explanation given by some very senior people from your profession, a group of people from IIT, Kanpur, and that's what I learned, that it's an integrated concept. It fits in well scientifically. All that it says is that I'm just proposing, but you need to confirm. So you confirm it for yourself whether it would make you happy or not, or whether all those people whom you have seen are happy or were happier, whether they had all these elements or not. So the first element is prosperity. And I'll define this prosperity in a while. The second element is relationships. And third one is understanding. Okay. I have a request. All those who are their mobiles, good designs, latest ones, please put those off. Please put those off, and I would be very careful to keep watching each one of you. I can do that very, very well from here. Please don't do that, otherwise this is one thing I want you to invest your time into it. That's been my effort into it as well. So yes, please do put off your mobiles for a while. I'll request otherwise the coordinating committee people to have a little bit watchful about it. Okay, so these are the three elements which are required, and these are the three key elements to be happier. You need to differentiate between the prosperity and wealth. One can be prosperous or one could be wealthier. Prosperous by definition means somebody whose needs can be met with, and he is a little beyond that because sometimes you require that. Some guest has come, some emergency has occurred, and you need some extra leverage or some scope for spending little more. So that's prosperity. Wealth is that you keep accumulating it. There are a lot of wealthy people around, nationally, in the state, in our communities, and we all know that how do they keep working for the wealth. So becoming wealthy, whether this is an objective of anyone, is this an objective of you people also? Or whether you want to fulfill, just this wealth is for fulfilling the sensations. If you realize as to why a person tries and earn the wealth, it is primarily that you want to have the best of the clothes, you want to have the best of the books, you want to study in the best of the institutions, you want to have the best of the models of motorbike or car, you want to have a good comfortable house in a good locality, post locality, and that is what we keep working on, is it not? Our education is also oriented that way, that it helps us to be wealthier, because mostly the knowledge workers, they earn the most as compared to those who are laborers, and therefore they become